Yeah.
So, and one person resubmitted an assignment, which is all sort of indicators for me that, we're getting common understandings about, how we do things and what's important. And yeah, so it's good.
Yeah, it feels that checking in at the beginning, where you talk about the comfort levels, it feels, since I learned that with Mary Hartog, she really highlighted for me that importance of that checking in time, just connecting with the emotion, the feelings of the person, where they are. So that feels really crucial. But you've done this new work now that when I've got this draft keynote that I'm doing with Yvonne Grotti for the end of June, I'll just send it to you, because there's a section where I've talked about your work, and it will be lovely just to get this this sense of the use of the social media, because the whole conference is on developing innovative, educational resources, visual educational resources for students everywhere. So we must have a look at that, in perhaps 2 or 3 weeks. But with tomorrow...
So are you recording, Jeff?
Yes, I've got the recording. In fact, you can always tell it's recording because there should be a little red dot on your screen. I don't know if there is.
I can't see it, but anyway.
You can't, but it is on mine. It's
okay.
Actually, yeah. So it's really just feeling, with the intentions for tomorrow. And just making sure, because last week you were saying that there's certain things that you wanted to emphasize. And I think we missed off last week's intention.
Right. And then, so that's the first.
Yeah.
Then I want to have that discussion around the first assignment, because the second one's due this week, which is very close, as you can see. But I need them to get a good foundation to get started, because we have such a short span of time in which to do an inquiry.
Yeah.
And so we'll talk about that for a bit. And then I always do this check back on our culture of inquiry. Is there any evidence that we've enhanced that culture, even from one week to the next? So
yeah.
Then they're going to start on the text, and we've got small groups that are going to lead a discussion on the first 4 chapters.
Okay.
Just to get on the inside of what we mean by professional learning communities as they move into networking and the values in networking. And then you're going to come on at 10 o'clock, so we may not get all that done before then. But anyway, 10 o'clock, you're going to come, and we're going to focus on looking at the 2 articles, the DeLong, Whitehead, and the Anderson, with lenses like, the content, validity, where areas where they could be strengthened, those kinds of lenses.
Have you got a sense about what it is that you might like to come out of that tomorrow? Because when you say about the first 4 chapters, could you just, give me that context? It's almost like which 4 chapters, because you haven't said,
Well, it's in the Earl and Katz text called Building Networks. It's not an exact title, but And in it, they talk about the various facets that are required in order to make networks work. They actually start out by saying there's very little evidence that professional learning communities are having the impact that are intended.
Yeah.
Although the intentions of professional learning communities are very positive, in terms of sharing knowledge and supporting each other. So the intentions are good. It's just that there is a sense, by what I hear from people, is that it's this mandated nature of it. That people don't, and Jeff mentioned this, that people don't come to it with a passion because they haven't been involved in its setup or why they're doing it. It's just been said, every school will do blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I think that's undermining what effectives it could be. But I mean, the alignment between the purposes of professional learning communities and actual research are almost identical.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's got to do with how people feel this imposition and whether there really is a willingness to open the door and, have these conversations.
That gives me a really interesting space, if you like, for tomorrow, with this idea that you may have some very attractive ideas, like within this idea of a professional learning community. But actually, when you look at this, the evidence for having an influence, if you like, there isn't much there in terms of what has come out of the concept of professional learning community, but from within their own inquiries, as they're trying to improve their practice, we are likely to develop a much better evidence base of influence, and then linking it into the growth of a culture of inquiry through the practice of the program. So, it'll be interesting tomorrow if I can actually make that point into the space that they're in, so we'll see. That's good.
And of course, within the Hurd Anderson paper, there is this emphasis on their part, and they say it very clearly, that there's a failure to theorize power relations.
Yeah.
Which, that's just, in essence what we've just talked about. That as soon as people feel this imposition, then they tend not to buy into the philosophy behind it, which may in fact be very positive.
Yeah. Yeah, so again, the whole thing about the theorizing the power relations, I must admit that I'm much more, if you like, fascinated by the notion of the flows of energy and the values with the energy. I understand about the power relations, but without that, the values and the energy flowing values, something important is missing. So it'd be lovely just to be able to hopefully connect into their own research inquiries and the writing that they're doing, and just see if some of these ideas resonate with their own concerns. Yeah, look forward to that.
So that's about it. And then they are, some of them are going to start orally articulating what their inquiry is going to look like. Excellent. And get some feedback. So we've kind of got a validation group ready to give them kind of feedback on, what have they planned, and then what else might they think about.
Okay. Actually, only having a shortish time to do this is actually quite beneficial, isn't it, in terms of being able to focus really intensively upon the inquiry process that they're all, if you like, freely engaging into, because it's not impositional. Could I just ask, did you get a new camera, or are you still working with the other one?
I feel like I'm in a quagmire in the swamp. Right. There's so many cameras. There's so many specs. You read the specs until you're cross-eyed. Yeah. And I can never really get a clear answer from people as to whether it's compatible with a Mac computer. And they start to roll their eyes in the back of their heads, and they go, oh dear, she would ask this question, and so... And then you go online and you hear all these horror stories. Well, you know what the net's like. There's no discrimination about all the problems people have had with compatibility between Mac computers and cameras. And I go, oh dear.
Does this JVC have a model number?
So, what's the model number of your JVC?
Well, you want to get seriously. You don't want to get my model number. Wait a minute. I'll just need to get. Where is it? I'll just hang on. I'll get it. I won't be a minute. I can set this out. Okay. Mine is known as it is an Evero, so it's EVERIO.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah. It's a full HD.
Yeah.
And it's got dual memory cards.
Dual memory cards. So it has no storage in it itself? Like it's not one of the ones with its own storage?
No, you put in, it's this one here where you put in 2 memory cards.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I don't know if you can see that, but what you do is you open it like that, and the memory cards are actually in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can take them out, put them into a slot on your Mac, and load them directly into. But that's the thing. All you need to do is to check with the supplier. That's the really crucial thing to ask. Does it drag and drop directly from your memory card? Because that will save you a tremendous amount of time.
Believe me, I've asked that question. That's when their eyes really roll into the back of their heads.
Right. Well, the thing to do is to say, look, here is my Mac. You want to take your Mac in and just say, look, could you just take a shot load it onto mine so I can see it working. Because, we know this, it'll make such a difference to your recording and then being able to upload, from the master's sessions.
I mean, the one thing I know for sure is I don't have any compatibility with the Pro 1 I have. I mean, I've been using it for years. It's just painfully slow, but I mean, it works. Yeah. So I don't need to go spending $500 on a camera that then is going to give me nothing but trouble.
Yeah. Okay, well, it'll be good tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. And I'll be on from 10 o'clock, so you just involve me when you like.
3 o'clock your time.
Yeah.
You got that right, not 10 o'clock your time.
No, okay. 10 o'clock your time, 3 o'clock my time, yes.
All right. Okay, looking forward to it, Jack.
Yeah, so am I, very much.
Have fun with your grandson.
Yeah, yes, well, I have been doing. It's bye-bye. Ta-da.